Some prisons are designed to keep criminals inside. Others are designed to disappear them. There is a place, its name rarely spoken, its location blurred from maps, where people are taken and then erased from public reality. No trials that anyone can verify, no records that families can access, no confirmation that the prisoners are even alive. Officially, it does not exist, but evidence says otherwise. It begins, as these stories often do, with denial. Governments around the world maintain classified detention systems, facilities built outside normal legal frameworks. In the early 2000s, reports started surfacing from journalists and human rights investigators about black sites. These were secret prisons used to hold individuals considered too dangerous, too sensitive, or too politically inconvenient for the public justice system. The logic was simple and deeply unsettling. If a person never enters the system, they never have rights within it. No lawyer, no court, no public record. Just silence. One such facility, its exact coordinates still debated, is believed to have operated somewhere in Eastern Europe or Central Asia during the height of global counter-terror operations. Satellite images showed structures appearing and disappearing within restricted zones. Flight logs revealed unmarked aircraft landing in remote airstrips at unusual hours. Human rights groups cross-referenced these movements with missing persons reports. Patterns emerged. Men taken from airports, from border crossings, from quiet homes in the middle of the night. And then, nothing. No charges filed, no official arrest. Families left searching through embassies, police stations, and legal systems that all responded the same way. There is no record of this person. But absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Former detainees, those few who eventually resurfaced, began to describe something chillingly consistent. Blindfolds that were never removed during transport. Hands bound tightly enough to cut circulation. Long flights where no one spoke. Then arrival. Not at a known prison, but at a place designed to disorient. No windows, no clocks, no sense of time. The cells were often described as boxes, sometimes less than 2 meters wide. Constant artificial light, or sometimes complete darkness. Temperature controlled to discomfort. Sound used as a weapon. Either relentless noise or absolute silence. This was not just imprisonment. It was psychological restructuring. Interrogation in these facilities was not about immediate answers. It was about breaking identity. Sleep deprivation lasting days, sometimes weeks. Isolation so complete that detainees began talking to themselves just to confirm they still existed. Interrogators rarely shouted. They didn't need to. Control was total. Food, light, human contact. Every basic element of life became a tool. And over time, something began to happen. People changed. Not just physically, but internally. Former detainees described losing track of who they were. Names became distant. Memories blurred. Without external reference points, the mind starts to collapse inward. Reality becomes unstable. This is not accidental. Psychological studies have long shown that humans require structure, time, interaction, sensory balance to maintain identity. Remove those, and the brain begins to fragment. In these prisons, that fragmentation was the objective. Because a broken mind is easier to control. But the system had another layer, one rarely discussed: plausible deniability. These facilities were often operated in cooperation between multiple agencies, sometimes across different countries. This created a deliberate fog of responsibility. If something went wrong, if a detainee died, or if evidence surfaced, no single entity could be held fully accountable. Everyone involved, and no one responsible. Documents later leaked suggested that even internal oversight was limited. Reports were classified beyond standard clearance levels. Access was restricted to small, compartmentalized teams. The system was designed not just to hide prisoners, but to hide itself. And yet, fragments escaped. A flight manifest here, a testimony there. A financial record linking construction contracts to shell companies tied to intelligence operations. Individually, each piece meant little. Together, they told a story. A story of a prison that officially did not exist, but functioned with precision. One former guard, speaking anonymously years later, described the environment as clean, controlled, and completely detached from reality. He said the most disturbing part was not the prisoners. It was the normalization. After a while, he said, it stopped feeling like something unusual. It just felt like the job. This is how systems sustain themselves.
For years, this place had no name. But investigators would later connect the fragments, flight logs, satellite images, survivor testimonies, to a network known as CIA Black Sites. Secret prisons operated after 2001, hidden in countries that officially denied their existence. One of them was called the Salt Pit, a facility near Kabul, Afghanistan. No windows, no records, no identity. And for the people inside, the outside world simply stopped existing.
Not through chaos, but through routine. Not through monsters, but through ordinary people adapting to extraordinary conditions. And then there are the families. For them, the prison is not a place, it is a void. A father who never returned, a brother who vanished during travel, a son whose last message was, "I've been stopped at the airport." Years pass, no answers. Legally, they are in limbo. No death certificate, no confirmation of life, just an absence that cannot be resolved. This uncertainty becomes its own form of punishment, because without closure, grief has nowhere to settle. Governments, when pressed, often respond with carefully structured language. They acknowledge the need for security. They emphasize threats. They avoid specifics. And sometimes they deny everything. But over time, even denials begin to shift. Investigations by international organizations have confirmed the existence of secret detention programs. Some countries have admitted partial involvement. Others have faced legal challenges in international courts. Yet full transparency remains out of reach, because revealing everything would mean confronting a difficult question. Not just what happened, but why it was allowed to happen. The justification often rests on fear, the belief that certain threats are so severe that normal rules cannot apply. And in those moments, systems are built in the shadows. Systems that operate efficiently, quietly, without interruption, until someone asks the wrong question, or finds the wrong document, or survives. Because survival is the one variable these systems cannot fully control. A single testimony can unravel years of silence. A single piece of evidence can connect invisible dots. And once the pattern is visible, it becomes impossible to completely hide again. Today, many of these facilities are said to be closed. Others are believed to have been relocated, rebranded, integrated into new frameworks. The language has changed. The methods, perhaps, have evolved, but the underlying concept remains. A place outside the system, where people can be taken and removed from the world. Not killed, not released, just held in a space that officially does not exist. And that is what makes it powerful. Because a prison you can see can be questioned. A prison you can visit can be monitored. But a prison that exists only in fragments of evidence can operate almost indefinitely. The real question is not whether such places existed. That has already been answered. The real question is whether they are truly gone or simply better hidden. Because history shows a pattern. When fear rises, transparency falls, and in that gap, the doors of these prisons quietly open again. Not for everyone, just for those the world is not meant to see.